Right now, there's this massive wave of panic, sheer excitement, and just absolute buzz washing over the entire tech world. And the crazy part? It's all centered around an AI model that technically doesn't even exist yet. I mean, think about that for a second. We're literally watching a global industry hold its breath for a product that hasn't had a single official press release. So today, we're going decoding. We're going to break down exactly what we know about this ghost model, what the community is desperately demanding, and how this phantom release could fundamentally flip the global AI race on its head. So the big question on everyone's mind is, what exactly is GLM 5.3? Right now, that name and, well, pretty much everything attached to it is entirely a product of leaks and community whispers. It bears a massive, unconfirmed label. It's a ghost. But it's a ghost with a very real pedigree, and that is exactly why developers are acting like private detectives right now, sifting through every single crumb of information they can find on social media and forums. Because to understand why a totally unconfirmed model is causing such an earthquake, we really have to look at who's supposedly building it in the first place. Section 1. The Ghost AI Model. So, when we talk about Z.ai, which you might know formally as Zhipu AI, we are talking about an absolute powerhouse out of Beijing. They're led by Tsinghua University professor Ji Tang, and this is a team with a long, proven history of shipping incredibly capable models. And this perfectly illustrates exactly why the community is losing its collective mind right now. You have absolute radio silence from the company's official PR, right? But then you get this incredibly cryptic tweet from Ji Tang himself, just reading, "Are you ready? Haha." That's it. Just a few words. But in the hyper-competitive, incredibly fast-moving world of AI, a tease like this from a lead figure, it's literally the equivalent of lighting a match in a fireworks factory. It single-handedly drove the current hype train into complete overdrive, basically convincing everyone that something massive is dropping any day now.
Section 2. The Power of GLM 5.2. Okay, so to ground all this wild speculation, we first have to look backwards at the baseline they established back in June of 2026. Just look at the sheer scale of that number, 753 billion. GLM 5.2 is a mixture of experts' architecture, and it operates at a massive scale. At roughly 3/4 of a trillion parameters, it absolutely cemented itself in the upper echelon of AI capability. It proved, without a doubt, that Z.ai can handle staggering levels of technical complexity.
But beyond just the parameter count, GLM 5.2 featured a 1 million token context window. And you probably already know what that unlocks, right? It means the ability to feed an entire library of code bases, a dozen incredibly dense financial reports, or massive historical datasets into a single prompt, and the model can process the whole shebang without suffering from recall degradation from beginning to end.
And here is where it truly shifted the landscape. GLM 5.2 didn't just look good on paper, it actually proved itself where it matters. It achieved top-tier scores on rigorous coding benchmarks, completely holding its own against the best models in the world. And honestly, the most disruptive part? Z.ai released it as open source under the highly permissive MIT license. Anyone could download it, tweak it, and build their entire business on top of it. So, when a predecessor is this powerful, this capable, and just handed out for free, it's completely natural that expectations for the next iteration are going to absolutely skyrocket.
Section 3. The Developer Wish List. Knowing what that predecessor could do, the global open source community has drafted a very clear roadmap of what they want to see next. Let's dive into it. By far, the biggest demand flashing across every developer forum right now is native vision support. Developers desperately want this new model to directly look at and understand the world. They want to be able to just feed it screenshots, complex multi-layered PDFs, intricate UI mockups, and have the AI instantly comprehend them, without having to rely on clunky third-party optical character recognition tools. Direct native vision is basically the holy grail for this next release. But the wish list doesn't stop at vision, not by a long shot. The community is also heavily pushing for shorter reasoning traces. Basically, they want the model's internal logic to be way more efficient so it generates faster, snappier responses. There's also a huge demand for smaller, compressed versions of the model, quantized versions that everyday developers can actually run locally on regular PCs rather than needing to rent a massive, expensive server farm. And finally, they want day-one integration with popular open-source tools like Llama CPP, VLLM, and SGLang. But actually, let me really emphasize this, Z.ai has not officially confirmed a single one of these features yet.
This is pure, albeit highly informed, anticipation.
Section 4, the 5.3 or 5.5 twist. Okay, so just when everyone thought they had a handle on what was coming, recent leaks threw an absolute curveball into the mix. There's a distinct split happening in expectations right now. GLM 5.3 has basically become the community's default placeholder nickname for whatever is dropping soon. It's the expected, immediate future. But leaked reports are increasingly pointing to a very different reality. These reports suggest the next major flagship leap won't actually be 5.3 at all, but rather GLM 5.5, a true titan of a model slated for August 2026, boasting well over 1 trillion parameters. So, the community is currently stuck in this weird limbo, using 5.3 to describe an imminent, iterative update, while simultaneously holding their breath for a massive trillion-parameter 5.5 leap later this summer.
Section 5. The Global AI Stakes. Let's zoom out a bit beyond the spec sheets and naming conventions, because this buzz represents massive geopolitical and technical stakes.
This brings us to a concept that is quietly reshaping how developers all over the globe plan their futures. It's called open-weight insurance. I really want you to absorb this definition. If Z.ai drops this next model as an open-source, open-weight release, just like they did with 5.2, it serves as a crucial backup plan for the entire global ecosystem. See, developers around the world are currently highly reliant on really expensive, closed-source, frontier models from the US, like GPT or Claude. But what if access to those models gets restricted? What if the pricing just becomes totally untenable for a scrappy startup? Models like the upcoming GLM act as strategic insurance. They guarantee that developers will always have a powerful, globally accessible alternative they can run themselves, safeguarding their businesses against sudden industry shifts or access blocks. And honestly, that is exactly why the anticipation is at an absolute fever pitch. We aren't just waiting on a new piece of software, we are waiting to see the next move on a massive global chessboard. Given how aggressively Z.ai has historically shipped models, this silence, it can't last forever. We are likely weeks, if not literally days, away from official news breaking the internet. So I leave you with this to think about as we wrap up today's explainer. When that official announcement finally drops from Beijing, is it going to be the iterative step of GLM 5.3, or are we about to feel the trillion-parameter shockwave of GLM 5.5? Keep your eyes peeled, everyone, because the AI landscape is about to shift yet again.